मंगलदायक हे गणनाथ,
मंगलदायक हे गणनाथ,
मंगलदायक हे गणनाथ,
मंगलदायक हे गणनाथ,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
हे शिवनंदन पाहि दयाला,
हे शिवनंदन पाहि दयाला,
हे शिवनंदन पाहि दयाला,
हे शिवनंदन पाहि दयाला,
पतिपुरीश्वर जगत परिपाला, पतिपुरीश्वर जगत परिपाला,
पतिपुरीश्वर जगत परिपाला,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
मंगलदायक हे गणनाथा,
मंगलदायक हे गणनाथ,
प्रणव विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
हे शिवनंदन पाहि दयाला,
हे शिवनंदन पाहि दयाला,
पतिपुरीश्वर जगत परिपाला,
पतिपुरीश्वर जगत परिपाला,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
प्रणव स्वरूपा विघ्न विनाशा,
मंगलदायक हे गणनाथा.
Beautiful smile.
Om Sri Sairam. I offer my most humble and loving pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Swami. Respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, of the Sai family. My loving Sairam to one and all. First and foremost, you are doing well and staying, and I pray Swami to have an early resolution of these challenging times that we are facing. I would like to take this opportunity today to invite one and all to the fourth Samarpan program in Toronto, Canada. As you all are aware, a Samarpan talk session is the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning Alumni Initiative. I'm pleased to bring forward the fourth in. It is my honor and privilege to introduce Brother Deepak Anand, who is going to be the speaker of this session. Brother Deepak Anand is no stranger to devotees, to the Sai devotees all around the world. I have known him personally both for my undergraduation and my post graduation when I was a student. It is ironical when I started my education under Swami's fold for my undergrad in Vrindavan in 2000. It was the first few days of the summer course, and Brother Deepak was chosen by Swami to give a talk prior to Swami himself speaking in the evening session of the summer course. And incidentally, once I had finished my educational sojourn with Swami, uh, Deepak and I had the good fortune to actually accompany our beloved Swami to his Kodaikanal trip in 2005. So I have very fond memories of association with Brother Deepak, and it gives me immense joy that I'm given the opportunity to actually introduce him. Few things about Deepak Anand. Deepak Anand hails from New Delhi originally, and he's currently residing in Puttaparthi. And he's been residing from the time that he joined Swami's fold for his MBA in 1997. His family has been in Swami's fold from 1974. And upon Bhagawan's direct instructions, he pursued his Ph.D. in international finance and also received a doctoral degree from Bhagawan in 2004. Swami then handpicked him to serve as an assistant professor in the Department of Management and Finance. His father, again, a very well known devotee amongst the Sai family, has been equally blessed to be serving as the editor of the Sanathana Sarathi for the last 2 decades. Throughout his stay in Prasanthi Nilayam, Brother Deepak has been blessed with many chances of close proximity to beloved Bhagawan. He has spoken multiple times in the divine presence and has donned multiple roles in dramas that have been directed by our dearest Swami himself. He's an eloquent speaker and has shared experiences across various forums in countries. He has also authored a book titled Love, Smile Now. Student, who better could we choose to actually, all of us. So I take this opportunity once again and we all will be, teleported back to our days and, the beautiful experiences that Swami.
Om Sri Sairam. Shravan, can I go ahead? Okay. Yeah, Om Sri Sairam. offering my most loving and humble salutations at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Revered elders, sisters and brothers, Sairam to all of you. Thank you, Shravan, for your very gracious introduction. Yes, I remember more than anything else the great joy that we had in togetherness at the lotus feet of our beloved Sai, and how every day in his presence has always been a celebration. So today is such an happy occasion that the Sai family of Canada and Toronto are having this particular satsang, and I'm able to have this opportunity of speaking to all of you. So let us contemplate upon some of the experiences and the guidance of Bhagwan that he has given us over the years that will probably be extremely useful for us in our lives and in our spiritual pursuits. First of all, Shravan said that I authored a book. And the book is not based upon, the title of the book is not based upon my experience. It's the experience of one of the students. It is called Love, Smile, Now. I think these three words encompass a lot of spirituality in them. The essence of a spiritual life is encompassed in these three words: love, smile, now. Now, Swami says that if you have to really encapsulate the entire teaching and life of Bhagwan in one single word, just one single word, it is only love. And he defines what is the nature of this love that he wants us to understand. Swami says this love that I talk about is not the ordinary love. It is not the worldly love. It is the love that can be said equivalent, not equal, but equivalent for our understanding of our minds, of which is deep like the ocean, expansive like the sky, and selfless like that of 100 mothers' love. Actually, Swami says it is impossible to understand even the love of one mother. How can we understand the love of 1,000 mothers or 100 mothers? It is just for the sake of our contemplation and understanding that what is the quality of love that Swami has for all of us, and what is the sole purpose of this love. Swami says love is the soul of this universe, and in fact all of us are constituted with this love alone. And to understand this love, we have to be in the present moment. We have to be smiling in the present moment, because the present moment is really a present from God, and that is why we have to contemplate upon this. In fact, there was one occasion when the students of the school, they were contemplating a small drama in the Kulwant hall, and so they were all dressed up in their costumes and they were all ready for the drama. And Swami came and spoke to them, and Swami asked them what the drama was all about. And the students said, Swami, we are doing this particular drama on a scene from Mahabharata. And these were the secondary schools, young boys who were doing this particular drama. And when Swami asked them about the scene of the drama that they were enacting, they told about the scene of the Mahasabha in the Kauravas, and how Draupadi was dishonored and how Krishna came to the rescue of Draupadi. Then Swami, after hearing them and blessing them and guiding them, Swami asked them, do you have any question to ask? And Pat came on, hand was raised, and one boy said, Swami, what is beyond God? What is beyond God? In fact, I was surprised to hear a question like this from a student at this point in time, because it was not really in the context of what the Swami was discussing just a minute or two before. But Swami immediately gave a beautiful reply, and he said, yes, there is something beyond God, and that is L-O-V-E, love. True love is really the essence of the creation, sustenance, and destruction or renovation of the entire universe. And that is why when one of the students went with his birthday tray to Swami and he said, Swami, it is my birthday, give me a Guru Mantra. Swami said, what Guru Mantra can I give you? The Guru Mantra has already been given by me to the entire humanity. And that is love all and serve all, help ever and hurt never. Swami said, contemplate upon this again and again, you will understand what is the essence of your life is encapsulated in these two sentences: love all and serve all, help ever and hurt never. But he said, Swami, I want a special mantra for me, because being a Brahmin boy, my father has told me that I must really ask you for a secret Guru Mantra. And Swami said, The Guru Mantra, okay, if you really want a secret Guru Mantra, but there is no secret in spirituality, but I'll give you one, but you must practice. And that is love, smile in the present moment. Swami said it in Telugu, Lavu, Navu, Navu. Love and smile in the present moment. If we contemplate upon these three words that Swami has told that particular day to this particular boy, I think one of the greatest spiritual formulas have been revealed to us, where every moment of our lives we can judge ourselves and see, are we really in that love? That the way the love Swami has defined. Are we really in that deep, expansive, and selfless love? To all these people, places, things, positions, power, money, all these things that we have our love for, how much is our love focused and concentrated upon the love of God? Swami says 24 hours have been given to you. How much of that particular time do you spend for loving God? Every day, God creates a credit balance of 24 hours into our accounts. Every day, in that 24 hours, how much of the time have we given to Swami? We always feel that we are extremely busy. We always feel that we have really no time. There is so much of work to do. Family issues, the work issues, the COVID issues, the society issues, the neighborhood issues, all these problems are there. And we don't really have the time to give that focused attention to Bhagwan in these 24 hours granted to us on a daily basis. This is the same thing that happened one day, that one of the MBA boys, when the rigor of the MBA course was so much at that point in time, that this boy was very vexed, and he said, Swami, I came here to be with you, but there is hardly any time to even think about you. All the time we are in the college or the mandir and we are in the sports stadium, but where is the time to really think about you? And Swami said, oh, you're so busy. I think about you 24/7 in spite of managing the entire universe. How come you are so busy? He said, Swami, morning we get up 4 o'clock, we have to get ready, go for Suprabhatam, then we have our college. First of all, jogging and yogasanas, and we come back, have breakfast, go to the college, we come back, we have a lunch, we go back again to college. Again, we have to, come and get ready to go for mandir. All the day, Swami, from morning to evening, study hours, night prayer, it's all packed. Swami, where is the time to think about you? And Swami gave a very quaint reply with a beautiful, enigmatic smile that only he can give. And Swami said, see, in spite of being so busy, 24 hours are still remaining with you. I'll tell you how. He said, 24 hours, Swami? Swami said, yes. When you get up in the morning, for a few seconds, think of me. Then start your day with a feeling of dedication and offering to me. Then that day will become a loving offering to me, isn't it? And Swami said, when you go to play, when you go for your yogasanas, think that this temple of this body has been granted to me by Bhagwan himself. How can I keep it healthy? How can I keep it clean? And this act of keeping my body and health upright and in good condition is my offering to Swami. Think of me for a second, offer the flower of this particular games and sports to me, and that particular act will become an offering to me. Then Swami said, you go for your studies, think of me as the knowledge that you gain in the college. Think of your teachers as the gods, embodiments of gods who are coming to give this knowledge to you. Then that learning will become an offering to me. When you have your food, chew your food as if it's an act of offering to God. And when you swallow it, think that the Vaishvanara is accepting it. That act of eating food will become an offering to me. And Swami said, even when you study in the evening and go to bed, think that you're not keeping your head on the pillow, but you're keeping your head on the lap of Swami, and that you're sleeping again will become an offering to me. In that particular way, in spite of you being so busy, 24 hours are still available to you to think about me. And this is what, brothers and sisters, I think we should always remember, that time is never a constraint for the people who are determined. People who have made up their mind that this is the goal that we have to achieve. It doesn't matter for them what their schedule is. It doesn't matter for them what their engagements are. It doesn't matter for them what their preoccupations are. One part of the mind is always focused upon Swami. And I remember this particular instance of one of the greatest devotees that I have met in my life of Bhagwan Baba, and that is Dr. Alreja. Dr. Alreja at that point in time was the director of the General Hospital in Puttaparthi, and he had the privilege, the greatest privilege, to go every day to Swami's Purnachandra and check Swami's pulse, to check his BP, and to check his weight, And Swami will always laugh at him and make fun of him and says, Alreja, your BP and weight and your pulse is incorrect. Mine is always perfect. 108 pounds, 120 by 80, and everything is perfectly fine. But you must check your pulse first before you come and check mine. So Swami will make fun of him. But he was such a dedicated soul that Swami loved to see him in darshan time. When Swami will look at him, Swami will be so happy just to have, to see at his smiling face. Old man was hardly able to speak, but that is the level of dedication and to Bhagawan that he had. The Swami gave him such opportunities. One Swami, we were all in Vrindavan. Summer course had ended, and Swami had come to Puttaparthi for only half a day. He had come here to supervise some work and sign some checks for the painting work that was going on in Puttaparthi. So we were all waiting in Trai Vrindavan very eagerly for Swami to come back. And sitting in the Trai Gardens, that beautiful building, that beautiful place, and an amazing infrastructure, where I had the opportunity of also being with Swami as a resident of Trai Vrindavan for 77 days in 1999 after we came back from Kodai. Sleeping in Swami's room. What was that experience is an area of contemplation and discussion in another forum. So we were all waiting there, and Dr. Reja was sitting along with me, and constantly his lips were moving. Om Shri Sairam, Om Shri Sairam, Om Shri Sairam, Om Shri Sairam, Om Shri Sairam. And looking at him, I disturbed him in his Namasmarana, and I asked him, I said, Doctor, can I ask you one thing? He said, yes, ask. I said, it seems that Swami loves you so greatly. In fact, the moment Swami sees your face, he is filled with joy, and he immediately calls you or speaks to you or gives you his blessings or discusses the cases in General Hospital. Whenever there'll be a difficult case in General Hospital, Dr. Reja will directly go to Swami and say, Swami, this devotee is not doing so well. We have done whatever we have done. Please give me vibhuti. If nothing else is working, Swami, what I need your vibhuti. And Swami will be forced to give vibhuti to be able to cure that particular patient. So I asked him, what is the reason? What is the way? What is the formula that you have adopted that makes you so close to Swami, so close to Swami? And then he said a very important revelation he made. And he said, Deepak, it is nothing but ajapa japa. It is a constant contemplation of the name of the Lord. He said, it is possible that one part of the mind is constantly engaged in Namasmarana, while the other part of the mind is working in the world. That is what Swami says, Ki man mein ram aur haath mein kam, isn't it? That we have hands in the society and head in the forest. Dr. Reja was a great example of such devotion. So it is possible, very much possible. We should never give the excuse that we do not have enough time for contemplating upon and thinking about and working towards the real purpose of our lives. And that real purpose of our lives is time bound. In this configuration of the body, mind, intelligence, emotions, character, and soul that has come together in this particular form is an opportunity. It's a great opportunity, because as Shankaracharya ji always would say, that it is only amongst millions that one person ever thinks about the real purpose of life. And in those particular millions who think about it, there's only probably one person who reaches the ultimate goal of his life, the spiritual goal of his life. And that is why he kept telling, after all the jnana, he did not talk about the great knowledge or aham brahmasmi or soham. He told the common people, bhaj govindam, govindam bhaj mudmate. So that in the last moment of our lives, it will not be the knowledge, it will not be the learning, it will not be the how many texts you have mugged and you can bring them out at an occasion, give public lectures. That will not come to your rescue. What alone will come to your rescue will be how much devotion you have to Lord. And that devotion is never just granted by asking. In fact, one Swami was very, very happy with the devotion of the primary school students, and he happened to compare us and our devotion as something of a lower order. So when he said that once and twice and thrice, I felt, God, this is something that I really have missed. I was thinking, because Swami calls me every day for the interview, that Swami takes me to Kodaikanal on many occasions. Swami, I have traveled sometimes in Swami's car. Sometimes we have meals with Swami. Sometimes Swami calls us for speeches or convocation dramas, that means, certainly we give ourselves the benefit of doubt. And, we must be devotees only, right? But we do not, when Swami puts us to test, we find that, we are not really devoted. Because if we really have bhakti, then there should not be any vibhakti. What a devotee should never stop contemplation on God in the 24 hours granted to him. It has to be continuous. That's why Swami says, if you think about real devotion, then think about the devotion of Radha. Because that dhara, that continuity of the flow of devotion should be uninterrupted in the 24 hours given to you. Then Swami says you are a full-time devotee. Otherwise, you're only a part-time devotee, isn't it? So that contemplation should continuous 24/7 in our lives. How it is possible? It is possible only by practice. It is possible only by practice. So once Swami gave a discourse and he said, there is no need for you to have great spirituality, only if you sanctify your eyes and look at divinity in everything and everyone. If you speak as if you're speaking to Swami, if you hear everything as you're hearing the words and guidance of Swami, if you touch everything as an embodiment of Swami, just by your karmendriyas, just by your gyanendriyas, if you're able to think that everything is divine, you will be able to reach the real purpose of life. And he said, no need for going to the caves of the Himalayas or the deep forests or the top of the hills and mountains to do any deep meditation to be able to realize the real purpose of your life. Whatever you do, offer it to me. Whatever you do, just close your eyes and offer it to me for 1 second. And that particular act, by thought, word, and deed, will become an offering to me. And I felt, oh God, such an easy way to reach the real purpose of our lives. Just that, whatever we are doing, whatever we are seeing, we see it as we say, Swami, this is, the eyes have the power given by you. We did not bring this power of the eyes, which can see the entire cosmos in one go, by our own selves. It is a gift by you. That is, by whatever I see, can I make it an offering to you? Whatever I hear, the power of the ears is not, generated by me. It is given by you. Whatever I hear, can I offer it to you? I mean, whatever I speak, can I offer it? Whatever I taste, can I offer it to you? Whatever can I touch, can I offer it to you? Is it possible to do it? Of course it is possible. So I thought, when Swami is giving me such an easy way to move forward on the spiritual path, why not I try it out? So from the next day onwards, whenever I go to get up in the morning in the hostel and I go to brush, keeping the towel on my shoulder and keeping my mug and the brush along to brush my teeth, I will say, Swami, this walking from here to the bathroom is also an offering to you. My eyes can see because they have been given the power by you to see. My legs can walk because they have been granted the power to walk by you. My hands can function and brush my teeth because the hands have been given the power to brush by you. So that means the entire act of brushing can be an offering. Of course, the teeth that are there which need to be brushed, they also are granted by you only, isn't it? That is why the entire act of brushing is an offering. Similarly, the act of going for games is an offering to you. The act of studying is an offering to you. The act of contemplation in the mandir is an offering to you. Like that, I was contemplating for nearly a month and a half. Then one day I had a very, very, very beautiful dream. So I was sitting in the between third and fourth portico, as we used to call it, where Swami would cross the boys' side and go to the gents' side. There'll be a place, vantage points, that will be there at either end of the third row, the third portico, and the beginning of the fourth portico. In the dream, I saw that Swami passes by me. I'm sitting in the end of the third portico, and Swami passes by me. And then he goes further towards the gent side. He would have nearly walked 25, 30 steps away from me. And after that, I'm looking towards Bhagawan and having this darshan like everybody else in the Cycle Month hall. And Swami looks back at me and calls me, come here, come here. And not only that, Swami opens his arms and say, come, come. And it is obvious that Swami wants to hug me in public. And I'm wondering, Swami, is it okay that, you want to hug me in public like this? And Swami said, no, come, come, come. So I immediately rushed towards Swami, and Swami embraces me with both his arms. And that moment of oneness with Swami is indescribable in words, but it was an experience by itself. And like a proud mother, Swami holds my shoulder and looked towards me, looking into my eyes and says, I'm so happy you are offering everything to me. I'm so happy you are offering everything to me. So, brothers and sisters, the path of spirituality, the path of oneness to Swami, it is not a difficult one. We only have to make up our minds and say that this one way I will include Swami in everything that I do. In this particular way, I will bring Swami into my home. This is the way that I'll bring Swami into my office. This is the way I'll bring Swami into my academics, whatever I do. And this is a takeaway. This is a takeaway. God, when he comes down as an avatar, what is his real purpose? His real purpose is to make things simple. Because Swami would say that the knowledge is one. But over the time, many scholars describe that particular knowledge in the light of their own memory and experiences in different ways. That is why a common man, when he looks at all these experiences, he is not able to find the path that is meant for him, and he gets confused and lost. The God comes down and simplifies everything and gives us the essence. And the essence is spirituality has to be practiced in a daily lives on a everyday basis. It is not something that once we have passed our brahmacharya and grahastha and sannyasa, vanaprastha, in the sannyasa vanaprastha we will start practicing it. No, it has to be practiced from a small age itself till we realize, and it has to be brought into our daily lives in a seamless fashion. Then only the whole joy of spirituality will be imbibed in our daily lives. One day I was sleeping and I got up with a beautiful dream. And in the dream, I saw that there's a Samiti bhajan going on, and there are gents and ladies side all singing bhajans of Lord Shiva. Maybe some Shivratri function is going on, and there are two thrones right kept in the front. On one side, Lord Shiva is sitting, and on the other side is an empty chair. So there is no Parvati, Goddess Parvati sitting on the other chair. She is missing. Suddenly what happens is, as the bhajans continue, one of the aunts, an elderly lady, she suddenly becomes like Durga, becomes like Parvati, and she goes and sits there. And Lord Shiva tells me and says, do the sadhana that your auntie is doing. You also do the same sadhana that auntie is doing. I get up with a start, and I think, God, what is this sadhana that auntie is doing? There must be a great secret about it that is making her divine. I never knew that there was a secret sadhana that was going on in her heart, and because of which Lord Shiva is very happy and even giving her the status nearly of divinity. So immediately, it was a Diwali morning, and I immediately took my scooter and I went to her house. It was like 4:15 in the morning. I rang the bell, and the lady came out, and I said, Auntie, please tell me what sadhana you are doing. And she was startled, and she said, what is wrong with you? What sadhana? What are you talking about? I said, no, please tell me the sadhana that you are doing. Seeing me in an agitated state, she called me inside, gave me a glass of water. She said, I'll make a cup of chai for you. You tell me what happened. I said, this is the way Lord Shiva told me that you are doing some secret sadhana, and that I must do the same sadhana, and that is why you must tell me what sadhana you are doing. And she said, Deepak, if you really ask me, as way sadhana is described, I don't do any sadhana. I said, then what do you do that Lord Shiva is so happy with you? And she said, if you consider it to be a sadhana in some way, my practice of spirituality is that whatever I do as if I am doing for Swami. Whatever I do. If I'm washing clothes, I think these are Swami's clothes. If I'm cooking food, I think I'm cooking for Swami. If I take care of my children, I think they are Swami's children. If I take care of my husband's needs and requirements, I think that he's embodiment of Swami. So I don't do anything which I feel is not Swami's work. I work only with this attitude. I don't do any particular sadhana. But yes, when I've got little free time, when I'm doing washing of utensils, either I'll sing a bhajan or do namasmarna to keep my focus upon Swami. But the more important thing is, I do every work as if it is a work of Swami. And then she said, around me, there are some opportunities of service. As you are aware, there is a potter's colony here. The children are all playing the whole day. Nobody goes to the schools. Their parents also are very poor. They can't afford their uniforms and books and school fees. That is why I catch one child, two children every month, give them some education, and pay for their dress and books, and pay the fees for their government school education. So I put them into I make it a point, every month I put two children into the government school. And then, of course, there are so many couples here whose children have gone abroad and they have no one to take care of friend. That is why when they have their doctor's appointments, medical appointments, I make sure I drive them up and down and take care of their medical requirements. If you say this is a sadhana, this is my only sadhana, I do not do anything else. And then I said, Auntie, this is the greatest thing that you have told me. Exactly what Swami would like us to do. Infuse spirituality and divinity into our daily life. Exactly what Swami told the MBA boy, that if you really are extremely busy, even then you have 24 hours available to you for doing this particular sadhana. And once we have this attitude, it becomes Swami's responsibility to take care of our needs and requirements and ensure our happiness. Why? Because whatever we give to God, what gives God happiness? God is happy when we become closer to Him. That's all it is. The ocean is happy when the rivers come closer to it. Swami would always describe in his discourses, and you would have heard that how when the river is coming towards the ocean is extremely happy, and the ocean rises and gives way for the river to become one with it. We have started our lives as droplets of this particular ocean of love. We have risen and fallen somewhere on the top of the mountain. Then we have got stagnated somewhere. Then we have become part of a streamlet. Then we have become part of a pond. The pond overflows and become a part of a rivulet into a river. And we are journeying back. We are journeying back to the same ocean from where we have come. In this way, we are all co-travelers. And that is why Swami says the essence is we are all sisters and brothers of the Sai family. That is why wherever I go across the globe, I find extreme, affinity. I find extreme love as a family member would have. When I went to Sri Lanka a few years back, and I traveled around 7 to 8 districts in Sri Lanka, and I gave talks there. Of course, my talks were in English and they were translated into Tamil language. And but we had beautiful sessions where the youth of this particular country had so many questions to ask. And that is why I was telling Ketan and Bharani also that if there are any questions to ask, we should be free to freely ask, because we are one family, and in our family there should be no inhibition of any kind. Of course, we have one question that came up, and which I will cover as a part of our my talk. And the question is about, if you have had the opportunity of being so close to Swami, those people who have never seen Swami, those people who have never had the chance of being proximate to Swami like you have been, how can they relate to Swami the way that you are able to relate? Now, this is an extremely important question. But let me tell you that when we are in the physical proximity of Swami, we are not connecting to his body at all. We are connecting to the same love that is there in our hearts. I would seek opportunities to remain distant from him and attract him by my love. I would always look for the opportunity of testing my love for Swami. It is not by distance. It is not by how far you are away from Swami, how many kilometers away from the physical body that you are connected to Swami. In Kodaikanal, when we'll be sleeping outside, and Shravan will tell you that how much fight there was to get the first place next to Swami's door. So I would sometimes get the place just next to Swami's door. Outside his door, we'll be sleeping. Swami will come out in the morning, and Swami will look at all of us. And first thing that he will ask is, did you have some breakfast? Did you put some petrol into your system? And we say, Swami, no, not yet. Oh, Swami say, oh God, you must all be very hungry. You have been sleeping, you had an early dinner, and even now you have not had your breakfast. Oh God. But then after having this small conversation, what will Swami do? Swami will part the window curtain and look at the farthest street where the devotees have lined up for getting the first line of darshan. Just imagine, in Kodaikanal, it is extremely cold in the morning. And these devotees, 5, 6, 10 of them, will be silently sitting and meditating. From 4 o'clock onwards, to get a little proximate to Swami. And then Swami will look at us and say, see, that is true devotion. That is true devotion. You think you're all very close to me, but no, I am closest to them. They may be far. You may say they are foreigners, but they are far near to me. Why? Because their hearts are focused upon me. When we'll sit with Swami in close proximity, what will Swami be talking about? Swami will be talking about either his earlier avatars, the devotees that were there in earlier avatars, or the devotees from his childhood time, or the great devotees of Bhagawan, or Radha or Meera. And what he will say? Boy, sing the bhajans of Meera, sing the bhajans of Radha, sing the bhajans of Gauranga, sing the bhajans of Sakubai, of Namdev. And in various languages, for the various devotees, when we will sing, Swami will be shedding tears. Swami will be so deeply lost in contemplation upon the love of these devotees, and we will feel Swami is not really here. Swami is not really here, but Swami is gone to Treta Yuga, Swami has gone to Dwapar Yuga, and he's there with them. One day we were all, that is why, please, sisters and brothers, never think a distance can be an inhibition. Physical proximity can be an inhibition for a devotee to become one with Swami. The farther sometimes we are, the closer we may be. That is a fact. One day Swami called us early morning, and we were not really expecting to be called so early in the morning. That time we were doing our research, and Swami sent word for us at 6:30 itself to the hostel warden that research scholars must come. And in a half bathed, half shaved, well, we ran, putting on our white clothes, and we entered the interview room one by one. And Swami seemed to be in deep contemplation. And we all sat there very cautious, keeping distance from Swami because he seemed to be in a different world altogether. And he was absolutely still, absolutely still. In the middle for a while, Swami opened his eyes, looked at us. Again, he was lost. And then nearly 45 minutes were over, and I thought probably Swami had called us early in the morning for doing early morning meditation with him. So we were all looking at Swami very keenly as to what would happen next. And when Swami opened his eyes, he said, what date is today? 6th of September. What happened on this day? And Swami said, this is the day that the atom bomb was dropped at Hiroshima. And so many people lost their lives. Then Swami said, right now in Osaka, in Japan, my children with lighted candles are praying to me that such a catastrophe should never befall humanity again. Look at the choice of words that Swami had. My children right now in Osaka, in Japan, are praying to me that such a catastrophe should never befall humanity again. And Swami said, I listened to their prayers and came. I listened to their prayers and came. Swami was right next to us in the interview room. There was nobody else even in the entire Kulwant hall. Only we and Swami in the interview room. We had all the proximity. But Swami was with us. Swami was not with us. Swami was with those particular devotees who are praying in the spirit of Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. And that is the greatest prayer Swami says that we should ever have in our hearts. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. And then he explained why we should do that. At one point in time, my father had already come and joined as the editor of Sanathana Sarathi. My mother was still in Delhi, and I was worried about her because the locality in which we were staying was well known for single old women or people being looted or robbed or harmed. And I was very worried about my mother. And then one day Swami came to me, and then I was holding a letter for my mother. Swami looked towards the letter and said, Delhi letter? I said, no, Swami, it is for you. Swami said, put the stamp, send it to Delhi. I said, Swami, what about my mother? And Swami said, you have a prayer? I said, yes, Swami. And Swami said, first tell me, where am I? I am on my knees standing next to Bhagawan with my nose nearly touching Swami's robe, and Swami is asking, where am I? And the only answer could be, Swami, you are everywhere. Swami said, yes, I'm everywhere, but I truly install myself in the depths of your heart. If you have any prayer, keep it with me in the depths of your heart. And if you have to only say something or write something to me, only say Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha. And Swami said, you know why you should do this? Because the Samasta Loka is my body. The Samasta Loka is my body. And when you have the action of Samasta Loka, Sukhino Bhavantu, the reaction and resound is Sukhino Bhavantu, Sukhino Bhavantu. And Swami said, I will then fulfill the prayer in your heart at the best time, in the best way possible. At the best time, in the best way possible. When I wanted to come here as an MBA student, and Shravan was telling us about, that I wrote the application form for the MBA examination 6 times. 5 times I didn't even get the reply from the university. 6 times suddenly my application was accepted. In 1992, Swami had told me that he will give me an MBA seat, but it was the 6th year that I got this particular admission. But then I'm grateful for this delay that Swami had made, because had it not been for this delay, today I would not have still been a part of the institute. Today I still not would have been in Puttaparthi. I probably would have lost and wandered somewhere else. It was Swami's grace that he delayed. That is why we always say God's delays are never his denials. Because the year that I passed out, 1999, Swami again reinitiated the PhD program for the MBA students after a gap of more than 10 years. That means had Swami accepted my prayer even an year earlier, I may not have had the opportunity of doing the PhD and being a professor in Swami's university. So really, the greatest prayer that we can ever do, keeping the whatever desire we may have, let us always first of all check the quality of our desire. Is it the right or wrong? Is it good or bad? And then if the desire is right and it is appropriate, then we should only pray to Swami. Swami, you are in my heart, Swami. You know everything. I only pray to you, Swami. Samasta Loka Sukhno Bhavantu. And then you see how miracles will happen and how Swami will fulfill your prayers in such a beautiful way. Even you will be surprised. Even you will be surprised. And this, then, if the prayer is not fulfilled immediately, then what happens is we become disturbed. We become agitated. We start complaining. And Swami said, that is not what we should be doing. We should have Shraddha and Saburi. As Shri Baba would always say, you require focused devotion, continuous devotion. Shraddha and Saburi means patience. Have patience, have faith. If you have faith, you will have patience. If you don't have faith, you will become very impatient and agitated. So we have to wait for the right time and place and circumstances for things to happen. His eyes are always on us. It is impossible that we do or say something and Swami has not seen and heard it. It is impossible. And that is why sometimes it is very embarrassing in front of Swami. Swami knows the minutest details of your greatest secrets. And on many occasions, Swami will reveal them to us and tell us that he is a true resident of our hearts, to make us believe in that. One day we were all sitting for darshan, and Swami came to one particular boy sitting next to me and he said, boy, your mother is diabetic, isn't it? He said, yes, Swami. But she doesn't stop eating sweets. Oh, yes, Swami, she doesn't stop, but she told me that she is not taking sweets. She tells you like this, but when she goes to the temple, she takes prasadam there. When she buys the chocolates for the children, then she eats one herself. Then when somebody comes to the house and she offers them tea, she has another half a cup for herself also. On one pretext or the other, she is having sugar, which is not good for her. And Swami said, immediately go and call her up and scold her on my behalf that why she is having sweets in spite of me telling it is not good for her. And then suddenly looked towards me and said, and you? I said, Swami, what have I done now? What was that idea of setting the denture right for modeling? Very bad idea. I was seeing stars. I did not understand at all what was the thing about denture and modeling. I said, Arun, when Swami left for the interview, I said, Arun, I don't know what Swami told me, what it just came as a bolt from the heavens. But at least you have got clear instructions that you must immediately go and call up your mom before she has the next sweets and you get more scoldings on behalf of your mother. So Arun, this particular boy, he ran up and to call up his mother. And then I was wondering. The whole evening went off in contemplation. What is it about denture, and modeling? And then I remember late in the night that around 7 years back from this particular point, around 7 years, when I was in the final year of my BCom honors course, or second year of ending of my BCom honors course in Delhi University, I was having a chat with one of the boys who was my classmate in my BCom honors course, and holidays were about to start. And I was having a discussion with him, and I asked him, "Oh, friend, what is your program for the holidays? Are you going somewhere?" He said, "Yes, I'm going to Kulu, Manali, and I'm gonna go to these places. I will do some skiing, and I will do some, all this. I'll have a good vacation." And I said, "God, you are rich, man. I hardly have any pocket money for me to even contemplate going out somewhere. And here you are making so much of plans. You must be a rich guy." And he said, "No, I am not so rich, but I have earned it." And I said, "How did you earn it?" My eyes a little widened with expectation because I needed also money to, to go along somewhere and have a nice vacation. So I asked him, "Hey, how did you get all this money?" He said, "I know an ad agency for which I am doing small modeling assignments. That means you have to wear the clothes that these people give you and pose the way they want, and then they will give you some money at the end of the day." I said, "Wow, that's a great opportunity." And he said, "Yeah, Deepak, you also probably will fit into the kind of people they require, but your denture is all haphazard and it is not in alignment. So once you smile, it doesn't look so nice. Only if you got your dentures set right, you have a good chance." I said, "God, anything for money at this moment of time before the vacations are starting. So let me immediately go and do something about it." Just opposite to our college in Delhi University, there was a dentist shop. So I went to the dentist and said, "Doctor, this has to be done. I have a small modeling assignment to do, probably in the next few days' time, maybe in the next 1 month's time. I want my denture to be set right. Is there any way we can do it?" He looked towards me and smiled and says, "What's your age?" I said, "Yeah, I'm 22 years. He said, "You want your denture set right in a few days' time?" I said, "Yes." Then he said, "Do you know the cost involved?" I said, "Yeah, I don't know." He said, "You want to earn pocket money by setting a denture set right. It is impossible because you will need, many months of pocket money to be able to pay for what is needed." And then he said, "I have to remove 4 teeth and put braces. And that will mean that you will never be able to do modeling for the entire year." And he said, "Your teeth are pretty all right. They are functional in nature. Why do you want to destroy and do something artificial? I think you just give up on your modeling assignment. It is not possible." And realizing my own foolhardiness, I just came back and I just forgot about it. I had forgotten about it, but did Swami forget? 7 years later, by casually talking, he says that denture and the modeling assignment was a foolish idea. So, brothers and sisters, there is the great danger in spiritual life. When we have faith in Swami and we contemplate upon him, we should also be aware that he is aware of every moment and aspect of our life. There was once a conference of human resource management area in the MBA department, and we had called many HR managers from across the industry. And there was one HR manager who was totally a non-devotee or skeptical about Swami. I wouldn't want to tell his name or the company that he worked for, may not be appropriate. But he was, when I was going to the Shanti Bhavan and the N9 block to serve and take care of these people, he was asking many questions. He's saying, "Swami materializes everything with the right hand. Why not the left? Why does Swami have long sleeves?" I said, "Harsha, I told the name, though I did not want to. I said, Harsha, see, if you really want to know about Swami and why he does what he does, I think really it is best that you ask him directly. And I really pray Swami gives you an interview and you're able to ask your questions. He said, yes, that'll be very, very nice because I have these questions in my mind I would like to ask Swami. I want to have faith in his divinity, but I am a little skeptical. I said, no problem. Many skeptics have come and gone like you. All have become devotees and gone. Your turn also will come. So he, luckily, among the 12 or 13 people who came, 6 or 7 were selected by Swami for an interview, and he was one of them. So after the interview was done and he came back to the N9 block, I went to take care of him and take him for lunch. And I said, Harsha, what happened? You know, the reply that he gave, he said, Swami called me alone for the inner interview room and started revealing all the wrongs of my life, verbatim, in a sequential order. I felt like a naked baby in front of Swami. And then Swami asked him, my child, should I tell you more about your life and what you have done? And he started crying and sobbing and fell at Swami's feet and said, Swami, forgive me, forgive me. So nothing can be hidden from Bhagawan. And he is the one who can even change our destiny. He is the one who can rewrite our destiny also. By his grace, he can protect us from the greatest dangers. By his grace, he can give us the greatest manna from the heavens just by asking. One day we were all in the interview room and we were all a part of a particular team which was supposed to build some 4 schools around Puttaparthi. Myself, Rangarajan sir, Sri Krishna, and other Amit, and we were a team of 5 students and research scholars and 1 teacher who were given the responsibility of organizing to build 4 government school buildings. So Swami would not own these buildings; they are built on government land. Their only construction cost is to be borne by Swami, and then these buildings are handed over to the government because though the schools are sanctioned, teachers are appointed, children are coming, but there is no place for them to stay. So this is the time that Swami called all of us. And Swami was talking about the various aspects. And then one of the students, one of the boys, he had a little cough. And he was coughing. And Swami called him closer after the 2nd or 3rd time bout of coughing. And Swami took his silver glass and poured water into his mouth. So we were very amazed and, very moved to see the concern of Swami that this boy had a little cough and he was being granted this particular boon of drinking from Swami's hand the water that Swami probably would have tasted or from his own glass. So we are looking at him getting this particular blessing, and then Swami called all of us one by one he called all of us, and the remaining water, now half the glass of water was remaining. And Swami drank the remaining water. And he made a statement, casually made a statement. And he said, from this moment onwards, I am taking over all your karmas. We were shell-shocked. We did not know how to respond to that particular statement. But this is what God can grant when he comes down in an avatar, when he comes down in the human form, when he builds a relationship of love with us. What is it that he cannot grant? He can grant us the highest experience in a fraction of a moment. When talking about this particular government schools project that we were involved in, after the project was completed, and Swami called all of us, the 5 of us, and 5 schools were built, and Swami said, which school belongs to each one of you? And we said, Swami, all of them are yours, Swami, and by your grace, we have offered them to the government. And now the classes are going on well. We are trying to wind about give an answer. And Swami was insistent. No, which school have you allocated for yourself? So we didn't have an answer. We said, Swami, we will think about it and come back to you. So next day we came outside, sat near the statue of Krishna, in the old students block, alumni block. And then sir said, brothers, Swami is wanting us to take up one school each. So I don't know. These schools are government buildings and these already have been dedicated. The collector has come and inaugurated them. Everything is over. what does Swami really mean by, we taking the allocation of one school building? We said, okay, sir, we can't understand, but at least when Swami asks tomorrow, at least we should give Swami that, I have taken this school, you have taken that school, he has taken that particular school. So at least we give a, a reasonable reply to Bhagawan. Otherwise, he will get angry with us. So we all decided, okay, when Swami asked, you take that school, you take that school. And we were thinking, what kind of a joke that we are going to tell Swami tomorrow? All of these have been built by Swami, dedicated already to the government, and inaugurated by the government official. And what role do we have really to play in these buildings? But anyway, we allocated. Next day, prompto, Swami asked, have you taken up one school? Which school have you taken? I said, Swami, I have taken the Tarakram colony, at the West Gate. Very happy. Which school have you taken? Swami, I have taken the 1 year the super specialty hospital. Oh, very happy. Which one have you taken? Swami, I have taken the 1 year that orphanage that Swami has. Oh, which one have you? Swami, I have taken the 1 year Chitravati Road. Oh, very, very happy. Swami blessed us all. And the interview, after some time and discussion, the interview ended, and we all came back, and we were all smiling, looking at each other, and says, see, what kind of a divine joke it is that Swami has approved our allocation of our school buildings, though none belongs to us, not even the central trust. They belong to the government, but we have been allocated. So, okay, we are very happy. So with that particular thing, we went to sleep. And would you believe, all of us that particular night got a dream in relation to the building that we had so casually allocated to us. I get a dream that this particular school, though it is in the back lane of this of the village, has come forward to the main road, and I am standing there as the in charge for this particular school and waiting for Swami to come and bless the school and the children. Swami's BMW red car beautifully comes, and along with that is Swami's students who are running besides the car, and crowd management. A lot of people are following Swami's car. He's coming. I open the door for Swami, and then I offer him a bouquet of flowers. And Swami hands over the flowers bouquet to the students who are running after the car, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, the golden chariot appears. And Swami said, let's go. And I hold Swami's hand. At that point in time, Swami is walking with a little stagger. He needs a little bit of support. It's an opportunity for someone else. And Swami said, let us go. And we start climbing the steps. And the velvet blue carpet has been laid on all the steps. As we go on climbing, suddenly there's a little stagger in Swami's movement. And he holds my hand more firmly and says, hold it tight. And I hold it more tightly. And then we reach to the top of the golden chariot. At that point in time, just like, we see in these animated movies that somebody is created out of light, and then light creates the individual and decimates into light again. Like that, me and Swami decimate into nothingness. Just like that. And now I am, Swami is, but I don't know. Except I don't know anything where Swami is, but I only feel that one continuous undivided presence and peace. And I'm hearing only one thing, and that is the of the third syllable of Omkar. Loudly, I'm hearing only the continuously. And I know that I am, but I don't know where I am. There is a presence, that's all it is. And Swami is also that particular presence. And I wake up from this particular dream. And I realize, God, this is the reality. The soul of the universe is love. And that presence is love. That nothing is everything. That everythingness comes to nothingness in the end, and nothingness is the source of everything in this universe. And how to have that contemplation of that oneness without a break, without a second, without a division. Swami says, if there is bhakti, there is no vibhakti, there is no division. How do we have that continuity of that vision of God, of the presence of God, of the feeling of oneness with God is a challenge. It's a challenge. And many of us get lost only in our external practices and this and that. Yes, of course, somebody may have got the highest contemplation and experience of divinity just by chanting. But that is only a beginning and preparation. That is not the end. The vision of unity must dawn. That separation of the seer, the seeing, and the seen must cease at some point in time. There was one great devotee of Swami who was staying in the mandir. His son was actually our colleague in the chemistry department. And after the teacher had come of age, it was actually a little late. Swami called the entire family for an interview. And then Swami said, your son is now, told the father, your son is now really beyond marriageable age. You must go to your hometown, Hyderabad. You must get your son married and settle him down in a family life. I will bless and perform the marriage here in the interview room later. You go ahead with all the ceremonies and I will bless you. Now, they took the instructions from Bhagawan. And this particular father of this particular teacher, he was a great devotee in the sense that, he will be very, very particular about his morning to evening sadhanas. From morning Suprabhatam onwards, till evening Karasrinkritam va, Kayajam Karmajam va, the Shama Pratna, his Sandhya Vandanam, his circumambulations, his morning and evening bhajans, his working for the old people in the ashram, he's working for the Goshala, he's working for the medical camps, whatever were being held, is going for Gram Seva, everything. He was very, very particular, very, very particular. So, and he always used to think, he had this particular feeling that, that he is doing so much of sadhana. One day, an occasion must come when he should be able to tell Swami about all the sadhana that he is doing. So before the interview ended, as Swami was talking to the entire family, Swami looked towards the father of this teacher and he said, what sadhana do you do? What sadhana do you know? This was a God-given opportunity from God himself. Now he said, yes, now I will tell Swami about all the sadhana that I am doing. And he verbatim, from morning to night, he went on and on and on. And then Swami listened to him very carefully and Swami asked him only one question. How long will you stay in the kindergarten of spirituality? It came as a real shock to this devotee and he felt that he had a double Ph.D. And Swami said, you are in the kindergarten. And he was not able to understand at all. And he nearly tears welled up in his eyes. And he said, Swami, am I just the kindergarten of spirituality? Swami said, yes. He said, Swami, I lost my entire life thinking I'm doing great sadhana that I will become one with you. Swami, what do I do now? Swami said, no, don't worry. You have learned the ABC properly. Now I will teach you. It is not simple. But will you do what I say? I said, Swami, I will do whatever you say, Swami. Now please save me. Save my life. Because otherwise I thought my entire life is fruitful, but now it is seeming like fruitless. Please help me, Swami. And Swami said, no, nothing great to be done. No, don't worry about it. Don't get tensed about it. But when you go out of the interview room, whichever person you see, you think it is the embodiment of Sai Baba. Can you do that? Yes, Swami, I can do that. And Swami says, you will see many birds and animals. In the ashram and outside, you will see hills, mountains, and rivers. Think that they are embodiments of Sai Baba. Can you think like this? Yes, Swami. Then you will see shrubs, creepers, flowers, trees blossoming, giving fruit, and giving shade to people. And then you think that this also is the power of Sai Baba. Can you think like this? Yes, Swami, I can think like this. And Swami said, then you will see the clouds, the rains, the sun and the moon and the stars, the cosmos, the entire world you will see. And then you think that this is the embodiment of Sai Baba. Can you think like this? Said, yes, Swami. Then Swami said, then your job is done. Then I will come myself and give you the degree of BA, double BA, that will make you one with Baba. Then Swami said, then it becomes my responsibility to come and give you this degree of BA. That is the sense, brothers and sisters, that we have to put into practice. Practice makes a man perfect, Swami would say. I'll talk about in the same context, the experience of our that time Tamil Nadu state president. Such a ardent and a humble devotee of Swami. And that time I was in charge of the publications division in the hostel, and we would produce many books like Man Management or Vandana or Heart to Heart or My Dear Students. All these books were being published by us, and we would sell them also to the various states. So in that particular context, I had to go and meet sometimes the state president also, and whatever the accounting and the shifting of the books had to be done, I had to do that. So one day I went to meet this Tamil Nadu state president, and I looked towards him and said, "Sir, it is difficult to understand what happens in the Portico if you are a devotee of Swami or Swami is a devotee of you." He said, "Deepak, what are you talking? This is sacrilege." I said, "No, sir. The moment Swami looks at you and finds you there, he comes running to you. True or not? Every day he calls you for an interview on some pretext or the other. Yes or no? Yes. If Swami has turned his chair car in the Toyota Prius car, that he sits and the chair turns inside and the car starts moving, and Swami looks at you, he immediately gives the instruction to Padmanabhan sir to reverse the car, bring it back. Then he comes out of the car and then he calls you for an interview. I'm seeing it happen every day. What is the secret behind this? What is the secret behind this?" And then he made a revelation. And these revelations should never be forgotten, because they are coming with first-hand experience of true devotees of Swami. And he said, "Deepak, if you really ask me, Swami only wants one thing from us: the vision of unity in diversity." The vision of unity in diversity. And I said, "Swami," then I said, "Sir, how do you put it into practice? See, talking about it in a form of a theory is great, but how do you put it into practice? You are a state president. You have so many people coming to you. Some of people will be in tune with you. Some people may not be in tune with you. How do you really have this vision of unity and diversity when you're meeting so many diverse people on a daily basis?" And he said, "Very simple. Say, for example, I'm sitting in my room and somebody comes to me with an issue or a problem. The moment I know that this person is coming, I superimpose Swami's face on his face. I superimpose Swami's face on his face and see the flame of love in his heart. See the flame of love in his heart. And then as he's coming closer to me, I talk to him in the normal way, the way it is expected in the social order of things. But by that simple, momentary contemplation and superimposition of Swami's face on that person's face, and just a momentary vision of the pure love, the flame of pure love in his heart, that very moment, that person's attitude also undergoes a transformation. And he becomes more attuned and more comfortable and more in sync with what he has to discuss and the way I have to deal with him. He says, "It's just that, Deepak, it is not any great formula. It is only that how do we have the vision of unity in diversity? Unity in diversity. And there may be so many people who may disappoint us, but can we still look upon them with love?" Swami is a supreme example of that. Swami is a supreme example of how he will love the people who disappoint him. One day we were in Kodaikanal and we were all telling Swami, Professor Anil Kumar also used to be there, and he said, "Boys, what are you doing? You must tell Swami to go. That we should be taken for a picnic." And Swami is taking every batch for a picnic. I've been coming batch after batch, but this particular batch is so unfortunate. Not even one picnic with Swami, not even many photographs with Swami. So we got very motivated next day to ask Swami about taking us for a picnic. The moment Swami came in the morning, we all started, "Swami, picnic, Swami, picnic, Swami, picnic." And Swami said, "What? I am here. This is very comfortable. Where do we have to go travel on the road? This is only bad." "No, Swami, we also want to go on picnic." Okay, we'll go on picnic tomorrow," he said. Then there was a local police officer whom Swami called and says, "See, I'm making you the in charge for this. Chart out the route and the destination and make the proper arrangements that we can all go tomorrow morning. You lead the convoy, we will all follow you. Instructions were given in front of us. And then we started the next day morning. We were very excited. We were very excited. But as we took that particular route where we were supposed to go, we found because of the previous day rainfall, the entire path was quite blocked because of the branches and leaves and stems from the trees falling on the ground. Some stones were there which had fallen down from the nearby hills, and the road seemed to be nearly blocked. So instead of enjoying a picnic, we were all getting down again and again from our buses, and we were clearing the road. Oh, it was a long and drawn out process. And by the time 2 hours, 3 hours were gone, we were still in the middle of the road, having reached nowhere close to the point of a destination. So Swami took us went a U-turn, and he said, boys, the scenery is amazing from here, look here. And Swami was traveling in our bus. And while he was traveling in a bus, Swami told about the police officer, and he said, see, the police officer, he did not do his homework properly. All of you have to clear the road. He should have taken a better route than this. See, these people have not done their homework properly, because of which the picnic program is now compromised. Anyway, moment Swami stopped and got down from our bus, he called for the police officer. Where is the police officer? Where is the DSP? Swami said. And we all thought, now this police officer will get a scolding of his life, because Swami has already told us that he has not done his homework properly. And we are all waiting for the fireworks, and the police officer comes running and holds his hand in front of Swami, and Swami immediately materializes a beautiful white diamond ring and puts it on his finger, holds his hand so lovingly, and says, boys, click photograph. And we are aghast. He says, Swami, this is the person that you were telling has failed you, that you're disappointed with, and this is the person that whom you are blessing also. How is it possible? See, that is the vision that we have to gain. If you really want to love all and serve all, it is without exception. We cannot say, I will love everybody except you two fellows, and you I cannot love. Or I will serve everybody, but I will not be able to serve you in this particular way because I have no love for you. So this, without exception, is what we have to do. People who are our roadblocks, people who are criticizers, people who challenge us, we have to be grateful to them, because they teach us the greatest lessons of life. Because unless we persevere, nothing in life can be achieved. Thomas Alva Edison, he was dropped out of school as a dull boy, but her mother did not lose faith in him. She made him into what he became today. She gave him the free hand to express himself in the ways of his innovations, and he has got more than 1,000 innovations in his name, including the bulb. And can you imagine that bulb changed the life of everyone in this world? So unless we accept a person with his failures and shortcomings, we are really not in the contemplation of love all and serve all. Does not mean that we do not correct person with love. Now, this is what Swami always says. The criteria of judgment that I have for everybody, Swami says the same criteria of judgment work for every soul, for every individual across the universe. And I judge you by only one benchmark. And that benchmark, if you really understand, then everything that we do in thought, word, and deed, is it papam or punyam, is it good or bad, right or wrong, will become clear to us. Because this is a way that God judges us. What better can be a way that we use this formula to judge ourselves, right? And not to judge others, right? So how do we judge ourselves? Swami says, for all the souls in the universe who manifest and are born, I judge them only on one criteria. What is the level of your selflessness in thought, word, and deed? That's all. This is the only benchmark and formula. What is the level of your selflessness in thought, word, and deed? If you have 100% selflessness in thought, word, and deed, then automatically Swami says that these three will become aligned and you will be a Mahatmanam. Otherwise, if there is a dissonance between all these, you will not be able to have the single-minded focus and you will be a Duratmanam. Who is a Duratmanam and a Mahatmanam? Who is a good person and a bad person? A good person has, Swami says, unity of thought, word, and deed. But where is this particular thought coming from is the question. Is it the thought of the monkey mind? Is this the thought of in a worldly way? No. Swami says this thought is not the way you think of as your generally your thoughts, but this is the voice of the conscience. This is the inner voice. This is the thought, word, and deed. This triangle should be complete. Then only Swami says that you will become qualified to do dharma. And dharma, Swami says, is extremely important concept for us to understand. Swami says there is no definition or translation for dharma in the English language. English language is quite limited in terms of its usage to describe some of the Sanskrit words. But one day, Swami was speaking to one of the co-research scholars who was doing his Ph.D. in Mahabharata, and the question about dharma came. And Swami said, what is the meaning of dharma? Swami will clean bold us on the fundamentals on many occasions. Right? Swami said, what is dharma? And some definition was given which was not to his satisfaction. And Swami said, dharma, it is doing your best for the welfare of society as an offering to God. There are three aspects of dharma. How do you know your act is dharmic? First of all, you put in your best. If you're not putting in your best, the basic premise of dharma is gone. You may be in the Sathya Sai organization. You may be working in the office. You may be working in the academics. You may be working in any particular field, in the sports field. You may be working in the social organizations for alleviating the suffering of people. But are you putting in your best? That is first. Are you contributing your best to the best of your abilities? That is the first criteria of an act being dharmic. And Swami says that the next aspect is the sole purpose should be for the welfare of society at large. It should not be for your own self-aggrandizement or selfish purposes or for your own benefit. That thought of benefit should not be there. That individually, what will I gain from it? That thought should never come. If that particular thought comes, then this act cannot be dharma. It will be a dharma only, because then there will be a dissonance between the voice of the conscience and what you are saying. It will be a dissonance. That is why, first of all, the act has to be in a way that you put in your best. Second, you do it as for the welfare of society. And third, it should be as an offering to God alone. If these three criteria are met, then this act becomes a dharmic act. And Swami says, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Those who protect dharma are themselves protected by dharma. One day, one of the elders in the Sathya Sai organizations, he was coming from his hometown to Bangalore, Whitefield, where Swami was there. And when he came in, Swami said, get up and tell your experiences. He said, Swami, I have been saved and granted a new life by you. Swami said, what happened? He said, Swami, we were coming from our hometown to Bangalore, and on the way, because of some miscalculation by the driver, one of the tires went on to the road divider, and the whole car turned upside down and dragged for a long distance, Swami. But when we came out, not one scratch on any of us. Swami, you have saved us. You have saved our lives, he said. And then Swami looked towards him and said, I didn't save you. A shocker for everybody. Here is one devotee who was just saved from a life-threatening accident, and he says, Swami, you have saved me. Swami says, no, I didn't. He said, Swami, you are the God, you are the omnipresent being, you are dweller of our heart. Swami, you only have saved us. He wanted to insist, but he was not getting the message that Swami was trying to drive home. And Swami said, no. Even before I could come and save you, your dharma saved you. And then he said, how, Swami? And Swami said, see, when you were doing good work for society as an offering to me, and when people said, thank you, you would always say, what? Thanks, Swami, not me. I am only an instrument. Because of not accepting, you did your best for the welfare of society as an offering to God. And that is why these three criteria, when they came together, they created the bank balance in your dharmic account. So there was no need for me to come and save you. Your dharma saved you before I could come also. Because your dharma is always the shield and the protector of every individual. What is God? God is also the embodiment of Dharma. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yutsavaha, Mamakah Pandavaschaiva, Kim Kurvata Pandava, Kim Kurvata Sanjaya. Like that, the whole Bhagavad Gita's message, Swami says, is encapsulated in Mama and Dharma. So, what is the meaning of Mama Dharma? Is what we have to also contemplate, because that is the benchmark. Dharma is only when you are doing your best for the welfare of society as an offering to God. Bhishma, who gave us the Vishnu Sahasranamam, did not meet one of these criteria, and that is why his life was wasted and he had to sleep on the bed of arrows for 56 days. Please let us understand the nuances of Dharma. He met the first criteria. He did his best, yes. Was it for the welfare of society at large? No. And that is why Krishna reprimands him and says, Bhishma, your vow of protection of the Hastinapur throne does not meet the second criteria of Dharma. And that is why all the acts done by you, to the best of your ability, as an offering to God, do not categorize in the category of Dharma. You've only done adharma because you protected the wrong people by your will and prowess. And that is why this understanding of Dharma is extremely important. And once we understand this meaning of Dharma, then surrender becomes very easy. Because see, when you're doing everything as an offering to God, as Swami was telling, if you only sanctify your karmendriyas, you'll be able to reach the supreme goal of life. And then Swami called me and hugged me and said he was very happy with that particular act. Similarly, once we surrender, this particular act of being dharmic also helps us to surrender to God. And that particular, I give you, and I'll close with this particular beautiful, beautiful instance that we saw happening in Kodaikanal. And there was one devotee who was given the job by Bhagawan to go to Coimbatore and get saris and dhotis and some other items for the Ishwaramma Day celebration. So Swami was very happy with him, and Swami said, Sachidanandam, today you must speak. What will you speak about? And he said, Swami, I will speak about Sharanagati. Sharanagati, only Swami, for me, only Sharanagati. See, amongst all the paths that lead us to divinity, the path of karma, the path of bhakti, the path of jnana, the ashtanga marga, all these require a lot of effort. There's only one path that is seamless and effortless, and that is the path of surrender. And if we have that surrender in true devotion to God, it becomes the responsibility of the mother to pick up the fallen child, cleanse it, and keep it close to the bosom. And this particular devotee, as he was being given the key of his car by Bhagawan to be sent to Coimbatore to getting all these things required for the Ishwaramma Day celebrations. And I'll end with this instance because it's nearly time. And at that point in time, our All India State President Srinivasan sir was sitting, and he said, Swami, last year, a peculiar instance happened that you had given, sir, again, the responsibility of going and picking up the dhotis and saris from Coimbatore. And because it was getting dark and this sir cannot see from one eye, other eye, the vision is blurred, hands keep shaking all the time. And he's an old man. I thought probably I'll send another Sevadal along with him. So I sent one Sevadal to accompany him, to help him in some particular way that he may require. And the way our sir was driving the car down the hill on a Saturday evening, where a lot of people are coming from the nearby things to the hill station, the way he was driving the car full speed and with full control, the Sevadal was surprised. And he looked towards sir and said, Sajanandam sir, your driving, I cannot imagine. You're driving so beautifully well. It is impossible to understand. You can't see from one eye. Your hands keep shaking otherwise. You're an old man. You stutter in speaking. But the way you're driving is like Formula One. And at that point in time, there was a hairpin bend beyond which there was a deep valley. And Sachidanandam sir left his hand from the steering. And then he said, do you know who is driving? And this Sevadal was aghast. And he thought his moment of merger in Swami had come. He started putting his last prayers to Bhagawan and said, Swami, with whom have you sent me to die down this valley? Swami, please, I'm coming to you, accept me. With all these prayers, as the car went near the hairpin bend, it turned automatically. It lowered the speed automatically. It turned automatically. and the speed went up automatically. And then he put his hand on the steering and said, now you know who's driving? Now you know who's driving. How beautiful will it be if we can give the steering wheel of our lives also to Swami and say, Swami, you are the driver, Swami. Take charge. Take charge of our lives. We only need to do one thing for that, and that is complete surrender. Surrender. So if we are able to do that in complete devotion to Bhagawan, there is nothing else that needs to be done in our life. Everything will be taken care. And not only we will live our life as the ideals and messengers of Swami, we will also have the fortune of becoming one with him at the end of our lives forever and ever. Forever and ever. Forever and ever. I think we have completed our time, and I've also answered the question in the course of my talk, what the devotee had asked me. So I think with this we will end. And thank you very much for this beautiful, loving opportunity. And of course, Sainath Maharaj is there. He says Shraddha and Saburi. Please, if there is an opportunity, I will send you, I'll be putting my book, Love Smile Now, on the Amazon shortly. And maybe I'll share with all of you. Please go through and give your feedback. And I've shared a little bit, few things from my book only. But if there's an occasion, there's much more to share with all of you. We look forward to those opportunities. Thank you, Swami. Thank you, everyone. Jai Sairam.
Thank you, Brother Deepak. I offer my loving pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. What a beautiful journey, brought a lot of beautiful memories of Bhagwan. Thank you for sharing such beautiful experiences. Really enjoyed, and of course the lessons that spirituality is simple by just dedicating all our daily tasks to Bhagwan is a beautiful one. And then thank you for your answer to the question about how devotees who have never had the opportunity to have close proximity, physical proximity with Bhagwan, can experience same beautiful experiences that you have had. Thank you for saying that physical proximity is not so important. Nearness of heart is more important. And then illustrating it with ample number of real life examples directly from Bhagwan. Also, Samasta Loka Sukhina Bhavantu is the greatest prayer. And also a few hilarious incidents like your denture and modeling that you yourself had forgotten, but Bhagwan does not forget the Sarvantaryami. He remembers everything. And then the hilarious incident of the HR conference about the gentleman Harsha. Swami, of course, knows everything, every intimate detail about everyone. Thank you, brother, for taking the time out of your busy schedule and also coordinating, agreeing to do this and sharing your beautiful experiences with all of us. We really wholeheartedly thank you for your talk and immensely enjoyed the divine nectar of experiences that you have had the opportunity directly from Bhagwan. With those words, I would once again thank you for your time, and let's conclude with the Mangalarati.
And as I said, thanks. We have to thank Swami only. Then only I get little Dharma credit into my account. Let's thank Swami for creating the opportunity for all of us to share these beautiful experiences. Let's continue this journey. Thank you very much. Jai Sairam.
Jai Sairam.
Om Jai Jai
Jagadish
Sri Sathya Sai Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Pati Maheshwara Om Jai Jagadish Shanti Shanti शान्तिः। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।